It was intended to be just another Tuesday dinner at my parents' home. The warning signs were present from the time I went in. Mom had prepared my favorite lasagna, which she generally only cooks when she wants something. Dad was particularly chatty, inquiring about work, Tommy, and pretty much everything. They were building toward something. I simply didn't know what. "So, Dakota," Mom remarked gently as she cut her lasagna into beautiful squares. "We've been meaning to ask you something." I took a sip of water to brace myself. How much was Mark's life insurance payout? The question struck me like a slap in the face. I nearly choked on my water, taken aback by such a forthright question about something so intimate. Perhaps it was the shock, or perhaps I was simply tired of hiding secrets from my parents, but I responded truthfully. "About $300,000, I replied gently. Mom's fork clattered against her plate. Dad's head shot up so swiftly that I felt he could injure himself. They looked at me as if I had just declared I had won the jackpot. "Well," Mom began, carefully setting down her fork, "what are you planning to do with all that money?" I could feel their expectations weighing down on me. "I've invested it," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "It's for Tommy's future, his college education, maybe to help him buy an apartment when he's older. Mark and I always talked about." "But that's years away," Dad said, waving his hand dismissively. "You should be thinking about the present, Dakota. About yourself and your family." The way he stated family made it apparent he wasn't referring to Tommy. I recognized that tone. It was the same one they used to aid Rachel with her down payment for her house or to fund her extravagant wedding. "You could do so much with that money now," Mom added, leaning forward eagerly. "You could help your family, people who need it today, not save it all for some distant future that might not even—" "I'm not discussing my money anymore," I interrupted her, my voice harder than I wanted. The hush that followed was oppressive. They both sat back, Dad's expression clouded with displeasure, something I had seen so many times growing up. Mom squeezed her lips together in a thin line that always indicated difficulty. The rest of the dinner was spent in tight quiet, interrupted only by the scrape of forks against plates. I assumed that would be the end of it. Knowing my parents, I anticipated them to give me the silent treatment for at least a month. It was what they always did when I failed to meet their expectations. But to my astonishment, Mom called only a week later. "We're having a family dinner on Sunday," she said, her voice as friendly as if nothing had happened. "Rachel and the kids will be there too. You have to come, sweetie." Something in her tone made me apprehensive, but I consented. When I came on Sunday, Rachel was already there with her 3 children, all of whom were hooked to their phones as usual. As we sat down to lunch, she began ranting about rising costs, accumulating bills, and how difficult it was to make ends meet. "These days, everything is just so expensive now," she complained, passing the potatoes. "Your father and I barely have enough for a normal life anymore," Mom explained, drying her eyes with a handkerchief as she discussed rising grocery prices and electricity bills.